Hello everyone, it's Olumayewa Victor Ogushola from iDPS. iDPS means I diagnose and proffer solutions. So today we have something very interesting for us in the field of business management, especially in the field of finance. So this is good for business students all over the world. This is also good for business managers or business employees all over the world, as long as you have something to do with finance. So what do I bring to us today then? Today I'm going to be talking about the DuPont analysis and its usefulness for the ROE, return on equity. Okay, the DuPont analysis is a very important part of a ratio analysis. It is actually an advanced metric that helps us to understand the return on equity much better. Okay, maybe we start with the equation for the return on equity. Yeah, the return on equity is calculated as net profit, which we get from the income statement, divided by the average equity, which we get from the balance sheet. Yeah, that's the equation for the return on equity. Then maybe somebody already asked, when we have this equation, why do we need the DuPont analysis? This brings me to the story. Yeah? The CEO and the CFO at DuPont decided to break the ROE into three constituent parts. Yeah? This was because it was easy to calculate the ROE, but it was difficult to predict what the ROE would be for the next years. For example, if the ROE was 20%, moved from 20% to 22% in 2019, it was difficult to predict what the ROE would be for 2020 or for 2021. So they decided to break the ROE into three constituent parts. Yeah? And with this, we are able to ask questions: is the ROE is the increase in ROE a good thing? And what will be the ROE in the future, for example, in the next years? Okay. Talking about this, I mentioned already that the DuPont executives decided to break the ROE into three constituent parts. As you can already see here, the first constituent part is profitability, where we have the net income divided by sales. And we have the second constituent part, which is the asset turnover, yeah, about operational efficiency, where we have the sales over total assets. And we have the third constituent part, which is the total assets divided by the average shareholders' equity. Yeah? So with the first constituent part, we are able to determine how profitable is the organization. With the second constituent part, we are able to determine how the organization uses its assets efficiently and effectively to maximize sales. Yeah? With the third constituent part, we are able to determine how is the organization's financed. Yeah? Do we finance the organization from the shareholders' capital, or do we take loan to finance the organization and yet we make profit? This is talking about the ROE divided into three constituent parts. Yeah? Still talking about the DuPont analysis, maybe we should talk about the usefulness of the DuPont analysis. Why is it important? Like I said, it helps to break the ROE into three constituent parts. Yeah? It also helps to determine which part of the ROE, which of the constituents affects the ROE. Is the ROE affected by profitability, or affected by the asset turnover, or affected by financial leverage? It also helps to identify what drives the ROE. Yeah? Which of these constituents drives the ROE? It also helps to understand how current market news affects the ROE. Yeah? Current market trends. How do these current market trends affect the ROE? That's also one of the functions of the DuPont analysis. Also, if there's an increase in ROE, is this increase in ROE well aligned with the long-term strategy of the organization? Yeah? These are some of the usefulness of the DuPont analysis. Let's look at practical examples. Yeah? So let's look at two products, maybe one that's about profitability and the other one that's about asset turnover. Let's talk about niche products, like, for example, Apple. With Apple, you would agree with me that they generate high profit from small volumes. So therefore, the Apple example falls with the profitability here because it's all about exclusivity and it's all about continuous innovation. So the main driver for the ROE, return on equity, for Apple is profitability. But let's look at another example, maybe for the asset turnover. Let's look at the example of Walmart. Not niche marketing this time around, but mass marketing. Unlike Apple, where it's about high profit from small volumes, for Walmart, you would agree with me that they derive is from the volume drives the ROE. This time around, profitability does not drive the ROE, but the volume, operational effectiveness, operational efficiency drives the ROE. So if Apple, for example, would increase the prices in the stock market, the shareholders would be, if Apple would increase the prices, the shareholders of Apple would be very happy. If the prices would go up of the products, the shareholders of that company will be happy. On the other hand, if the price would increase for a store like Walmart, the stock will crash because that is not about profitability, it's about volumes. They derive the volumes drive the ROE. The ROE is being driven by asset turnover, by volumes, by the usage of the assets in an effective and efficient way. So the DuPont analysis also helps to separate favorable scenarios from unfavorable scenarios for businesses around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the short lecture on the DuPont analysis, which helps us to understand the return on equity much better. As you know, we like to get feedback, so if you enjoyed that video on DuPont analysis, please give a thumbs up to us. If you think that there's something we can improve, please send us an email at info@idpsconsults.com or go to the website www.idpsconsults.com and let's know how we can serve you better. We love to educate the world. As you know, I will not go until I talk about my passion, and my passion is that Africa must develop. Therefore, I say, are you an African in anywhere in the world? Please keep doing something to promote the unity of the African continent and keep doing everything to make sure that Africa must develop. AMD, Africa must develop. In English language, I like to say thank you very much. Dutch language from the Netherlands over here, I like to say thank you all. From Yoruba language, Nigeria, West Africa, I like to say eshe. Bye.